Hi, you guys. Welcome back to the Passionpreneur series. I'm your host, Brandy, and I'm so excited that you're back joining us again for another amazing episode. So, as you know, over the next 21 days, or depending on when you're starting this series, I'm going to be talking to some of the brightest minds, the most amazing experts that I could find in the world. Literally, we're talking to people from the West Coast to the East Coast to Ireland. So I'm so excited that you guys are here today. On the show, I have Nammy and Pavi from Misfits Communication. Now, I got to tell you, we actually haven't met in person yet for various reasons. But I fell in love with these ladies. Not only is their personalities just so big and fiery and fun, but their website's amazing, their YouTube channel, everything that they're doing is really on point and exciting. So I'm so excited again to welcome you guys to the show. And I would love for you just to introduce yourselves and give us some backstory into who you are and why should we listen to you?
You don't. Good day.
Pavi, you want to go first?
For me?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So Nami and I are traditional best friends. We've been best friends for over 10 years. And this is like a turn in our lives caused us to become business partners. So we kind of went in reverse. We started out in corporate. I used to be a chemical engineer. She was in supply chain. And we both got unemployed for different reasons. I got laid off. She quit. And we reached this position in like this point in time where we thought about everyone's unemployed and no one's talking about it. And we're both South Asian, we're Indian, so this is a very stigma related topic to talk about unemployment. No one talks about it. It's like, it's not a success story. So we started a YouTube channel called the 9 to 5 Misfits because we were 9 to 5 misfits. We didn't have a job. So we gave people like actionable advice on how to get out of unemployment, the emotional stuff, the mental stuff, the financial issues that you go through our storytelling vibe. And of course we were learning as we were going as well. And in that process, we really got good at making videos. And companies started reaching out to us about making videos for their branding and their company story and things like that. So we decided, you know what, this looks like this could be a business. And we decided, instead of being traditional YouTubers and going down that route, if we can help other companies do this, I think we have a bigger business on hand. And we started Misfit Communications out of Austin, Texas. And we've been in business for 2 years. I think trying to crush it.
Yeah.
It's only been 2 years. I feel like there's so much content out there from you guys. I mean, granted you did 100 videos in a year and a half, but just your whole presentation just feels like you've been around for a while.
Oh, thank you. And actually, so it was funny because we started our YouTube channel in 2016. So we started actually making videos 4 years ago.
Okay.
But then I think just, taking our time to hone our craft and all that stuff. And that took about a good year and a half. And then before we started our Misfit Communications, our actual business, we had a period of time where we felt like, you know what, let's beta test the stuff, because we were a little nervous to just jump right in and create an LLC and all that stuff. So we wanted to be really cautious, and we had a few test clients where we tried out some of our signature style of video that we now do because we realized it was successful. But yeah, it took us a while to really test it out and then jump in. So yeah, that was in 2018 when we finally decided to create an LLC.
That's awesome. So just off the bat, first question for you guys. A lot of our audience are in that state where they're, maybe 1 to 2 years into their businesses right now, or they might still be considering it a side hustle. And so they haven't fully jumped in yet. And so dealing with the current circumstances that we're in right now, a lot of them might be thinking, is this the time where I need to just go for it? Like, why not, depending on their situation. Knowing that you guys took some time, beta tested, really put some thought and intention into, like, can this really be a business? And seeing the feedback you were getting, what sort of advice would you give someone in the same boat right now who's thinking about that?
I would say it's sort of, you have to be equally cautious and thoughtful and deliberate about what you're doing, but then also quick to act.
Mm.
So it's sort of sounds contradictory, but use this time to really lay the foundation and do the groundwork. I would say don't just not do it because out of fear that it won't be accepted and stuff like that, because I tend to be like that. I'm a huge perfectionist. So if I didn't have a Pavi who is like an executor and like, all right guys, we need to get this out, I don't think I would have done half the stuff I've done now. So you kind of have to have a good balance of being cautious and really thinking about, and now is a unique opportunity where the entire world is slowing down, right? So you do have that time to do things that you never would have had time to do earlier. But then at the same time, you want to set yourself up for success right now so that when things resume, you can hit the ground running.
I love that. And I feel like both of you came from, I want to call them like really big careers, like big titles, big status, everything. And this just seems so like left field, compared to that. How much of what you were doing before in those careers and your training, your education has helped you in this career now and what you're doing, being so different?
I think it's helped us immensely. A lot of times we meet very young entrepreneurs that want to start out immediately, like right out of school. And we always tell them, because they're like, we want to be like you, we want to just like do our own thing. And sometimes I want to sit them down and be like, no, this was a lot of experience, like working, learning to be doing like the actual mundane tasks, having a boss, doing all of that, and learning actually what we did. And like in my practice, I used to be an engineer, so I was a numbers girl. I had to learn a lot of how you optimize stuff, which really worked out in favor of what we're doing right now. And I try to tell these kids that this is important. You have to go through, there is like a hurdle phase, whatever version of it you're doing. There has to be a time where you are working hard and doing something really well before saying like, I'll just start anything and be good at everything, which is good for you if you're very good at it. But I genuinely would not be here if I did not work that hard or work in my previous career. And for our business sake, even the way we divide work is I'm usually the one behind the camera and I do a lot of the editing, and that's post-production work. It's because I do understand data better, and I do follow things that are more analytical in that sense. And for Nammy, because she was in supply chain and switched to social media marketing in between, she's good at creative writing and storytelling and things like that, which is so important to the types of videos we make, because we put out like empathetic, true, authentic videos and not just like buy my stuff, everybody should buy this. And all of this is from our background. It would not be something we would have known naturally if we just started out. And even though we didn't go to school, like film school, there were certain things that we could use from that previous life that just put us where we are today. And then the biggest thing for us is most of our clients are corporates. They're medium-sized corporates. And whenever we tell them we were in corporate, they immediately like a flip, like a switch is like, oh, good. So you get it. Like you
Understand.
X,
Right.
Y. You know, there are some rules you have to follow. And it's been really, really great for us. As much as we kind of were figuring out life when we were in corporate, it kind of did lead us here.
Yeah, but I'll also say one thing that is really interesting is even as we've gone through this whole journey, right? There's a lot of times when we suddenly become acutely aware of the fact that, holy crap, I'm actually using skills from my past life that I never even thought would actually be relevant. So like Pavi was saying, because she's been an engineer, it's some of the stuff we went into deliberately, the way that we divided up our work, but then some skills she didn't, she always discounted the fact that she was good with people and that she was actually an extrovert and really good at making connections with other humans. But now it kind of naturally comes out and we're like, dude, you have this skill and you're really good at it. And then same with me, I've been a dancer all my life. I've been in customer service, so I see parts of that coming out in the way that, either when I'm interacting with a client, I do a lot of the business development and a lot of the face-to-face stuff, and I see that customer service part of me come out a lot. And then even this one time we were creating a video that was just like stock footage set to music. And I could think about it like a choreographer because I've done dance all my life. And I was like, wow, this is actually like choreographing a dance. And it was amazing how all these little things that you never thought about. So I would say to anyone, don't discount, those skills that you always kind of pushed away and thought were inconsequential. They're actually important.
I love that. So life experience, university, and then a little bit of Google University.
Yep. Google and YouTube University are very important.
Every skill that you have has some use somewhere.
Yeah.
It's almost like you can't discount anything.
Yeah.
For sure. Oh, that's awesome. So let's get into the meat of what you guys do. Is it fair to say I guess the umbrella will be video marketing or, okay, perfect. I love, Pavi, how you mentioned storytelling. Storytelling is huge for me, and a lot of this series deals with storytelling as well. So I love that that's a big part of your the way you create your videos for your clients. Can you give us some more insight into your take on storytelling and how you're working with your clients to pull that out of them?
So storytelling for us, not that it didn't actually give birth to our business. The fact that we were telling our stories about being unemployed and how it sucks and how no one else talks about it and how can you get out of this funk, that like telling people those real stories was why we had companies reach out to us in the first place, because they wanted us to create things that were more real and no more being super fake and no more just talking about like the wins. Is one of the reasons why we even started this business as a video marketing company. But from a standpoint of just like backtracking why we focused on that, is for us, storytelling is data about us. It's just a different way of putting out information. And we realized very quickly that we've been learning to like be told stories ever since we were like 4 years old. Our grandparents read to us, our parents read to us. We read storybooks, and that's the only way we remembered stuff. And it just is the best way to stay in people's minds. And for us, it was like client work really helped. People reached out to us because we already did that. And then from a data standpoint, it just made sense for the business.
That's beautiful. So when you're working with clients, or let's go a different way. So say someone's not exactly ready to hire you guys yet. They're not at that level. What are a few tips or tricks, even resources that you would give a beginner business owner to get them started on this?
I would say the number one thing is always qualify your leads. And this is something that probably took us a little while to understand initially. And this is what every business owner, I think initially you want to cater to everyone and you want to serve everyone, and you want to, you think that you're at the mercy of your client. But it's a really good feeling once you realize that I have some control here too, where I get to, clients get to self-select too, and they get to come to me based on what message I'm putting out there. And then also just when someone approaches you, of course, the first thing they always ask is, how much does this cost? Mm-hmm. And for a lot of us in service businesses, it's not that easy, right? It's not like we have a menu of prices. It's usually based on the level of service that they need. So now we've kind of figured out, okay, how to have that conversation where it's, okay, let's not worry about price yet. Let's figure out if we're a good fit. Let's figure out what all you need in terms of scope of service, timeline, all of that stuff. And then once we really flesh out all of those details, then we can talk about price.
Perfect.
So that conversation, we've had enough of an interaction and built enough of a rapport where they understand the value. So it becomes a conversation about what is the value rather than how much does this cost.
Right. Definitely.
Okay. But Nammy, would you recommend a resource? Because I know you are a voracious reader.
A resource, I'm a big, when I first started out, I took Ramit Sethi's course called Zero to Launch. I don't know if you've heard.
I have recently, actually.
he has I Will Teach You to Be Rich. And so he has a bunch of different courses. So I took one called Zero to Launch, which is for beginning entrepreneurs. And it's a little bit costly, but in terms of value, it's amazing. So yeah, I'm actually redoing it right now, like 2 years later, and
Oh,
it's still incredible.
well, it's a good time too.
Yeah. Yeah. We all have time right now. So.
Exactly. What about you, Pavi? Do you have any books that you recommend, resources?
So when we started out, I did do a lot of homework through Google University because none of us knew how to edit or shoot. So
Yeah.
we had to learn it all by ourselves. So a lot of it was taking, watching a ton of YouTube videos on how to use editing software and what kind of lights to use, what kind of lights to buy, when to rent. So I did a lot of stuff online, and I honestly think that anyone can do anything if they just Google the crap out of it and make sure, obviously, that it's not illegal or not verified. But there's so much out there.
Yeah.
People are willing to give so much free. And it really, and again, we were entrepreneurs starting out. We didn't have like a crap ton of money to just put on different courses and
Right.
going to lectures and things like that. So we were scrappy, and I think that was very crucial. So I recommend YouTube, especially if you're in a business where something's visual. If you're trying to bake, if you're trying to like you're knitting something, you're building a product. There's so much out there in terms of education.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you said that, because my next question was going to be, is there any particular industry or field where video marketing wouldn't make sense? Like, is there any type of business that you would not recommend they go this route? Like, you don't need it.
I would say anyone who doesn't need to make money or doesn't need to sell a service or product,
That's a good one.
then you don't want video marketing.
Good job.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I can totally appreciate that. So can you take us through a little bit of your process? Like when you're first meeting with a potential client, what are the steps that you're going through with them?
So we typically start with qualifying our leads. So, I mean, it starts with us just first, obviously, doing a lot of marketing for ourselves. So whether it's in person, a lot of what we do is relationship building because we're B2B. So it typically tends to be a longer sales cycle and it's very relationship driven. So we go to a lot of networking events or different things like South by Southwest and stuff where we know that our target market is. And either that or we also get a lot of leads from just putting out content. So once we have that first touch point, then we have a discovery process. For us, we're very particular about having a very, very robust discovery process because that helps us to really build a relationship and vet our client or prospective clients. And then once we do that, then it goes into the production process. So I think, Pavi, you can go a little bit into what our production process is.
Right. After we've done the consultation, we have a kind of script or talking points ready. We storyboard what we're going to produce. And this is anyone who's in the, filming or cinema industry, online video industry will storyboard, which is essentially like what are the visuals for everything that's being said. Mm-hmm. So we kind of draw it out. It's like you can draw it like a little cartoon. You can make it a giant Excel sheet. But we discuss all that, and we spend a lot of that time in the front end trying to visualize what the final product will be instead of winging it right after. And once the storyboard is done, then we shoot, coach people on camera. And good thing for us is we've both been on camera, so we know how to coach people on camera. So we like whether it's people that we hire or if it's us on set, we just usually make sure that the client feels comfortable, and then we shoot and edit and make sure that they get this final product. And some clients, we help them with video marketing even after, in the sense we just didn't create a video that you can market, but we also help them with like metadata and SEO with video. How do you make thumbnails that you actually click, and what's going to sell versus what's not. So we go all of it. We kind of just like hold their hand through the whole process.
That's amazing. Can you give us a list or just a couple of the companies you've worked with? Just get an idea.
Yeah, we have a couple that we from like small businesses. We started with a lot of solopreneurs when we began this business. A lot of them were around coaching because video marketing was key for them in terms of because they're providing a service and people really need to know what they look like. So we started with a lot of, I believe they're ICF certified coaches.
Oh, very cool.
That work that was like our market, and it kind of still is, but that's how we started out initially. But we worked with Bumble, we've worked with Deloitte, we've worked with BB Imaging, which is a giant sonographer, so a staffing company out of Boston. And a lot of these clients, they've focused on like the human aspect of things because I think they've always done it in a very, I want to say classic sales format where it's just like, here's the product and this is how cool it is. But we've been focusing more on like, let's talk about the bad stuff, let's talk about the good stuff, let's talk about how you can help someone versus just like, look what we did. So yeah, this
Yeah.
is rebranding a lot for them.
Yeah, we found that our niche was very, because we make what we call personality driven human centric video, which is basically just storytelling style videos that highlight the person behind the brand. So that fit very well with employer branding. So we've been doing a lot of employer branding videos where we work with HR teams of large companies. And then also, yeah, like Pavi was saying, also kind of rebranding the idea of what a corporate video is. So, typically you see these videos of like ethnically ambiguous people running in fields and using technology that doesn't make any sense and doesn't exist. So we were like, no, let's just put real humans on camera talking like real humans. So that's what we're doing now.
Very cool. So where do I want to go next? I lost my train of thought. I completely lost the question. Okay, so working with, I love that, working with coaches, solopreneurs, taking, I know what I was going to say, social media. So is this something where you're working with them on a single project, or could it be more long-term and you're also helping them social media wise? So, of course, if they want to start their own YouTube channel, or if they want to do something that's, Facebook heavy, Instagram heavy, that sort of thing, taking it more from just being on their website, that sort of thing. Is that also part of the workflow?
Nami, do you want to take that?
Yeah. So we help, let's see. Sorry, could you repeat the question? I was thinking about my answer and then I forgot. Classic Nammy.
We all need more coffee. No, I was just thinking, so like, okay, it's actually two questions in one. So one, is this more of a project-based thing where you guys would come in based on a particular project? Or can this be something more long-term where not only are you creating the set of videos for them, but then you're helping them on the social media side. You're helping them to, if they want to start their own YouTube channel, carry that forward, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So typically we started out just doing those one-off videos, but then we realized that it's actually much better for both the client and for us if we do an entire campaign. So that's what we do now. What we do is we look at, when a client approaches us, we look at their entire customer life cycle and figure out, okay, what are all the touch points you have with your prospective customer before they become paying customers? And then even once they do, how do you interact with them? And what are the opportunities at each of those points to create a different style of video that'll appeal to that customer at that different styles of video. Oh wait, did I just freeze this entire time?
You did for a moment, it's okay.
Okay. So yeah, anyway, so then we do this, we go through the whole customer life cycle, we go through different parts of the sales funnel as well, and create different videos that work for those, each one of those phases. And then also, the only thing we don't do is manage a client's social media, but we do create videos that are optimized for different platforms, and we give them literally everything that they need to just plug and play. But we don't do the daily management of social media.
Okay.
And then for based on like the question about social media, since we focus on video marketing, we another reason why we don't manage the client social media is because it does involve, there's a lot of copy, there's memes and photographs and things like that, which we don't focus on. So we usually piggyback with social media agencies, and we pitch together with them for clients so that they do the social media and then we'll do the video aspect. We kind of are teamed up to do that. So most of the times we just focus, because we focus mostly on video and we want to do that well. We just don't want to, we try to make sure the experts work on the social media.
That's brilliant. I actually love that and really appreciate that. So many times I personally have run into companies where it's like they want to do everything in-house, which is great to some extent, but then you feel like I may not need everything from you, and I'm paying for it.
Yeah.
For one thing. And it's like I personally love working with people who are super passionate about a particular thing. So knowing how passionate you guys are about video marketing, and I know you're going to do an amazing job, that would totally just win me over as a client. So.
Yeah, then you don't have to be like, oh, can you do this and this? Because a lot of times another thing we always get is every time we're on set and if somebody walks by, they always think we take pictures too. They'd be like, can you take our photograph after this? And I was like, no, not a photographer. Like,
Yeah.
Totally different. Totally different.
That's actually happened in the middle of a shoot once.
Yeah. Like, why? Who gave you this idea? Just because we're behind the camera doesn't mean we know how to do this. Oh, we should do this. Like, we shouldn't actually.
No, just keep doing what you're doing. So I'm just curious as well, how long is this whole process typically? I mean, can you get this done in a week, or is this something more of, a month or several months?
Usually takes about 5 to 6 weeks for us to execute on a video, and that's just from the time that pre-production starts. And before that, we have to account for how much of a time the sales cycle takes. So sometimes that may be a week or 2 weeks. Sometimes it's a matter of months. So yeah.
Really? Okay. Just depends on how big the project is.
Yeah.
It's included. Okay.
Wow. Yeah, and a lot of times, like Nammy was saying, with corporates, the sales cycle is longer because it's not necessarily their money, so they have to talk to way more people, have to be involved before a decision can be made.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes a lot.
Wow. Well, I have definitely learned more about video marketing in this 30 minutes than I ever knew before. It goes way beyond just pulling out your iPhone and pressing video. Oh gosh, my goodness. So final thoughts, final words you want to leave us with?
And you said, Brainy, remind me again, the people who are typically going to watch this are thinking of starting out or have already started out in the first 2 years?
Both. So they are either 1 to 2 years into their business, so they're still fairly new, still figuring it out, or it's still considered a side hustle and they haven't fully dived in yet.
Okay.
I think, oh, sorry, Pavi, you were about to say something? Yeah. I think my advice is pretty universal and can apply to anybody. It's just that don't be afraid to own your misfit status. Think about the things that are different about you. And a lot of us have that instinct when we think that we're different in some way, we think it's a weakness because all we want to do is fit in and, be part of the status quo. But that's not always the best idea. So think about those things that set you apart, and they can actually be your biggest differentiators and can be your biggest superpower. So don't be afraid to own it.
Oh, I love that. All right, Pavi, you got to top that.
Work your ass off or else get out of it. Like, I'm just like, more in the sense of what we experienced. It's not, a lot of people think that like this passion and stuff will just magically come to you and you were born knowing what you wanted to do or you're born to do. A lot of people do know that and they were lucky, good for them. But if there are people like us, we have to go through a lot of struggles to figure out what that thing was. I would say just be kind and patient with yourself, because it's okay if you don't know what you're doing or what you're good at. Just give it some time, because not everyone is lucky to, be born like Katy Perry. She knew she was going to get into music. Like, good for her. It's not for everyone. So just give yourself time and be kind to yourself. Especially, I feel like there's this extra pressure during quarantine that you have to figure it out. You don't, it's okay. Just work hard. Back to what I said, work hard and look for it, but don't force yourself to, like, you have to get it in this, like, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever, however long we're going to be at home. I would say be patient and kind to yourself.
That was both amazing.
Aw.
Oh, you're speaking my language.
I win.
Okay, one more question.
Yay.
Have you guys, for each of you, have you found your passion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It took a while, but we have. I think for me, it may not, I still don't know if video will be my end goal in life. I don't know that. I do love the camera. I like being in front of it. I like being behind it. I do love everything about that. But I think it's what Nammy said initially. I didn't know I liked humans because I was an engineer for so long that I was forced to not care. As an engineering student, I was an immigrant here and an engineering student. We just didn't know how to socialize. Like, we just didn't have to. Yeah. And the same thing happened once I started work. You could just be a number and you kept working. But realizing that is my drive. So whatever I end up doing, that passion is involving people and interacting with them and going through any sort of journey with them is key for me.
Yeah. I think for me, it's kind of hard to answer what exactly my passion is. It's like a mixture of a lot of things, but it's a lot of things that I get to do on a daily basis. So one of them is bringing that customer service aspect back and being able to connect with my clients in a way that I never got to at any job before. And then also storytelling. I never realized how much I loved storytelling. And now my goal is to become the best storyteller ever. So let's see. Not there yet, but gonna try.
You're on your way. Oh, ladies, thank you so much, both of you, for your time and your words and just sharing little pieces of yourself today on the show.
Thank you, Brandy. Thanks for thinking of us. Yeah.
Of course. And I would love to stay in touch and have you guys back on here again.
Yes.
A few months, a year from now, and see where you are and all the amazing things that you're doing.
Yeah, yes, that'd be amazing.
Safe and helping everybody during this time. Like, I think positive content is the way to go. Our minds work. This is a really nice thing to do.
Thank you. All right, you guys, go have some coffee. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And for you guys watching, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Passionpreneur series. We have so much more in store for you, so stay tuned and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye, ladies. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
You too.